Well, the Nobel In Africa Symposium Series is a special initiative in collaboration between the Stellenbosch Institute for Advanced Study, the Nobel Foundation, and several other foundations to celebrate science on the continent. The objective is to create a global forum to encourage the exchange of cutting-edge, high-calibre scholarship and to highlight the significance of scientific research for the future of the continent and the entire planet, with the goal, of course, of encouraging constant communication between the best brains in Africa and those around the world. The first of 4 Nobel Prize categories, physiology or medicine, physics, chemistry and economic sciences, will be the focus of the symposium. For more on this, we're joined by the spokesperson of the Nobel In Africa Initiative, Noloyiso Mtembu. Noloyiso, thank you so much for your time and thank you for joining us on the Weekend Report this morning.
Good morning and thank you for the invitation.
Well, talk to us about the Nobel In Africa Symposium for our viewers who have never really heard of it, because if I'm not mistaken, I think the first run or the first iteration was back in 1965. So what exactly is it?
So Nobel in Africa is an initiative of the Stellenbosch Institute for Advanced Study, and the initiative will bring Nobel Symposia to Africa for the first time. It's closed sessions among scientists in the specific fields. In October, on the 25th, we will be launching the Nobel in Africa Initiative. So we will have the closed sessions for scientists, and then we will have outreach programs attached to the Nobel Symposia. These are, like you said, in partnership with the Nobel Foundation, the Knut and Alice Wallenberg Foundation, the Royal Swedish Academy, and Stellenbosch University. So for the first time, these are coming to the continent of Africa, and it's gatherings of scientists on the continent in communication with scientists elsewhere.
I think we learned a lot, Noloyiso, about collaboration, about global contributions to medicine, to science and the likes during the COVID-19 pandemic, that it was so key to our survival. Just talk to us about the origins of the symposium and the importance of this global network, this global sharing of science amongst experts, not only across the continent, but throughout the global context as well.
Absolutely. So when you look at what will be discussed, say in October, the first one will be in physics. And the topic there is predictability in science in the age of artificial intelligence. So you have a group of scientists coming together to deliberate on this particular issue, and they will then come up with publications that speak to this topic, research that they are doing that speaks to this topic. The important thing is that what the scientists are discussing needs to respond to the challenges of society, which is what then is the role of the outreach program, so that these conversations don't end only with the scientists, but are then shared with the general public, and a platform is provided for the general public to engage. So on the 24th of October, we will have an outreach in collaboration with Stellenbosch University, which will be on physics. So that will be one platform the public can engage with science. And then on the 25th of October, we will have an open gathering, which will be the official launch of the initiative. Even there, we will have some scientists speaking to the various themes of the Nobel Symposia. The first one will be in October 2022, and subsequent to that will be Nobel Symposia every year for 6 years. So the Nobel Symposium has granted STIA's license to organize these for the coming 6 years. So it is an exciting project for STIAs, but more than that, it is an exciting project for Africa, because it is a moment for all of us all the scientific community and the general public to rally around this particular initiative and to embrace it as our own and really showcase scientists on the African continent to inspire the next generation of scientists, but also to engage on topics that affect our everyday lives.
I mean, I'm so glad, Noloyiso, that outside of the closed sort of plenary sessions that will be held throughout the symposium, that there will be opportunity afforded to the public to access a lot of the science, a lot of the developments and the research that is going to be discussed by these leading minds and experts. I think that's important, especially just given the sort of global attitude that we're currently confronted with, this attitude of unilateralism. We know that for a long time, a lot of countries fostered the idea of multilateralism, where we have these global contributions, where we are sort of sharing, different developments in research and data. But there's this growing trend of unilateralism. Is the symposium a method or a means by which the science and the medical community is trying to sort of combat or at least contradict this growing trend of unilateralism?
Absolutely. With the Nobel in Africa initiative, we are saying Africa is a place for science, Africa is a place for innovation, Africa is future-oriented. And all of that means that if the Nobel Foundation is coming to the continent of Africa, they are not doing that by themselves. They are doing that with the science community on the continent. And these, the series of symposia that will be starting in October will be platforms for information sharing among scientists on the continent in communication with the rest of the world. So we are expecting in the room to have scientists from the continent of Africa and our guests coming from elsewhere in the world. It does not help to have these discussions in different parts of the world, but excluding everyone else when we are all affected by the same things. We've seen with the COVID-19 pandemic that actually we are very much connected. What affects one country can easily, affect the next one. So it's very important to do things in collaboration. This is one of the purposes of the Nobel in Africa Symposium Series, provide a platform for such collaboration.
And I suppose for some of our viewers who have tuned in and are intrigued by this, I mean, how is Africa sort of making this our own thing? We often talk about the global north versus the global south, and how oftentimes the global north tends to overwhelm the global south, or at least it tends to be overlooked because of developments happening in other parts of the world. Talk to us about how we can own this particular series of symposia and why it is specifically, for Africans and most importantly being hosted by Africans as well.
So what we did this week in the soft launch of Nobel in Africa, the initiative, we were inviting our local institutions, local universities and research institutions to say, here's something that's coming up later on in the year. Let us all rally around it. And we have scientists that are organizing the symposia. So we have a local organizing committee that is made up of researchers in Stellenbosch and other universities in South Africa and the continent. So it's the local institutions coming together and seeing this as an initiative that's going to benefit the continent. So when we said this week we are soft launching Nobel in Africa, that was an invitation to everyone who's involved in science, to the general public, to civil society, to philanthropists and funding institutions, to see this as a vehicle to expand, African scientists' footprint and to open up these conversations. and to embrace this initiative, because for the coming few years, it's physics this year, followed by chemistry, then we have economic sciences, and then medicine and physiology. And we've got lots of scientists on the African continent that can speak to these things, that are already doing amazing work on these topics. For example, we have in Stellenbosch Professor Hendrik Geyer, who recently received the De Beers Gold Medal Award from the SA Institute of Physics. And he's been doing physics for a number of years, inspiring young people and teaching and doing research and publishing and contributing to the creation of knowledge in that space. We've got many others like him on the African continent. So what we were doing this week was to say we invite everyone, we invite local institutions, our neighbors, local universities on the continent, research institutes, to come together and really own this initiative.
I mean, so just talking about the inclusivity of it all, remind us again who can participate, because as you mentioned, with the soft launch, it does seem that an open invitation was sent out to pretty much anybody who's interested in science. So just talk to us again about who can participate and how they can participate in this initiative.
Okay, so we have the Nobel Symposia. Those are closed sessions among the scientists in that particular field. And then linked to the Nobel Symposia, each symposium will have an outreach element. In the outreach element, we will organize public events. So those are open to members of the public. So anyone can participate in that. The official launch on the 25th of October is also open to the public. So everyone is invited to join us. So we can have a number of people in the room, but there will be an opportunity to join online as well.
All right, thank you.
Details around the registration to, the official launch will be on our website, stias.ac.za, and on our social media. You can find all our social media platforms on the website.
All right, thank you so much. That's a spokesperson for the Nobel in Africa Symposium Initiative, Noloyiso Mtembu, just taking us through that initiative.